So I want to talk a little bit about something that I see a lot about you when they're talking about your childhood, and you are very outspoken against war. You even mentioned it earlier as we were talking, and one of the things that gets brought up a lot is that your father was exposed to Agent Orange. Is that did that play a role in kind of framing your anti-imperialist views, or?
Of course it does. Of course it does. You know what my father did? He put his life on the line. He goes into the military, 17 years old. They train him to be a murderer. Next thing you know, he's one man, shot $1 million of bullets off himself. One man, $1 million of bullets from one man's trigger. 4,000 bullets a minute. Flying him in and out of secret missions, enemy territory. And what happened was they were flying him into all the same places. They were spraying that chemical on their own soldiers and on the Vietnamese people. And you know what it is, obviously, to kill the foliage and kill the trees and poison the fish in the water. So because the Vietnamese, they could hide in the trees, they knew their land better than the American soldiers. So they made this chemical. Oh, we're going to kill all the trees and we could see them and just shoot them out. And plus they can't eat their own food. They get the fish out the water, they'll die. It was like this disgusting, horrible thing. And then they were flying their own people into the same chemical. So, yeah, but what had happened is my father got shot down and injured. He did rescue missions where, like, if there were soldiers on enemy territory that was shot down or surrounded or captured, he would be the gunner of the helicopter that they would fly in to try to get the men out of enemy territory. So it was confirmed that he was in 6 different locations where they sprayed Agent Orange. It was probably more than that, but there was 6 locations that the government agreed to, that said, yes, this place, that place, that place, that, like, the 6 of the missions was sprayed with Agent Orange, So, or not the missions, but the areas, So, right. So what happened is when he came home, he ended up in a body cast for 10 months. Because when he shot down the helicopter, his pilot got killed, and he lost like 5.5 pints of, like, some ridiculous amount of blood. He was unconscious for 5 days. They got him out, and he was in a full body cast for 10 months. His one leg was shorter than the other, so he limped the rest of his life. Okay, he came home with some scars and some bruises and a limp. He could walk. His brain was right. You figured, okay, that's what it is. But then I was born, my older sister was born. But then when my next sister was born, Dee Dee, she couldn't walk or talk. And they said, oh, she'll live for 10 days. You might as well not even feed her. She's going to die. And then my stepmother said, no, we're not going to let the kid die or whatever. But she ended up living 26 years. But she couldn't walk or talk and, for her whole life. And they say, oh, it's a 1 in a million. Nobody thought Agent Orange. Nobody even knew what Agent Orange was. But then my brother Max was born in 1991, and he couldn't walk or talk. Same exact condition. But we found out 2-3 years later that he was also blind, because his eyes looked normal, but they just weren't connected to the brain. So his eyes moved around normal. So why doesn't this kid like us? Yo, what's up, Max? What's up, Max? Like, because Dee Dee, we could make laugh because she could see us. But Max would be like, hey, Max. And he would just be like making mean faces at it because he couldn't see us. But we didn't know he couldn't see us. So my brother was blind, and he couldn't walk, and he couldn't talk. And he died at 10 years old. And then my older sister, Lily, who was born totally healthy, she had a kid in 1990. This was before Max was born, and his name was Vincent. And he's healthy. And my sister, like, when the baby was like a week or 2 old, she said, nah, there's something weird the way he's moving and all the this is something that mothers have worries. He's totally fine. A month later, he's home. She's like, no, I don't like the way he's holding my finger. Doctors wouldn't believe her. And then finally, when the boy was 3 months old, they said, yes, he has this disease, Werner-Hoffman syndrome, and his body, he's going to die. His body, his muscles are going to stop working, and he'll be dead. So, was that Agent Orange related? We didn't know about Agent Orange still, really. And then I looked up the cases of it, and some, there were cases of that disease as well caused by Agent Orange. So the boy lived 6 months. So my sister's son. So it didn't just affect my dad's children. It also affected his grandchildren. And who the hell knows if the next generation, we don't know yet, you know? So, yeah. So when you say, oh, he's an anti-war, but also, you know, it also takes you to be an adult to understand it, to be anti-war, because you do come from a soldier family. My grandfather was a writer for the Stars and Stripes in World War II. My father's in the Vietnam War. So you're still thinking, hey, America, fight, you know, American Army. You're still thinking that, you know, and then through the years, you go, really, what the fuck did the American Army do, you know, do for us, you know? And in fact, I was just telling a story the other day to a friend, not on a podcast or nothing, but when I was about 17, I lost my job. I bought like a cheap station wagon, the engine seized. I had no money, no job. Me and my father was fighting. And I come home one day after I lost my job, and he said, there was an army guy sitting at the table of my house. And I said, what the fuck is it? And my father says, hey, son, you don't have no money, you have no job, you don't have no car. He said, son, you don't have a car, get yourself a tank. And they had the paperwork. They were trying to ship me off to the fucking army. I said, Dad, I'm a rap star. I'm not going to the army, Dad. I'm a rapper. He's a fucking rapper. Come on, you got no money, you're broke, kid. You know, he tried to ship me off to the army. He said, I ain't going to the fucking army, Dad. You crazy? You know, so.
That's, I mean, yeah. I thank you for sharing all that. That is, and also, you know, one of my favorite lines of yours is, my life has I'm going to butcher it right now, and I apologize, but it's my life makes Shakespearean tragedies look like comedies, or you know the line I'm talking about.
Oh, the legendary loser song,
yeah. It's a great line, and now people see where that line comes from, and that, you know, man, I'll be honest, this also hits me on a personal level too. My father-in-law was exposed to Agent Orange. He was over in Vietnam, and you know, my wife and I do not have children. We are undecided if that's a route we're going to go, but that's something we think about. I mean, because you say, you know, like they know that it can be passed on. So we're like, well, you know, if we had kids, could there potentially be an issue? It's criminal what they did.
That's a risk you have to take, though, you know, if you want to have the children. Like, honestly, sure. It was like this. After me and my sister were born, my sister died. My brother was healthy. My brother died. My sister was healthy. It was like my dad, it was like a 50-50, you know, you know. And then my sister had 2 kids. Her son died, her daughter lived. It was like 50-50. So when the mother of my children was pregnant for the first time, the whole time, I'm like, is she going to die? Is she going to be retarded? Well, that's not the proper word. Well, you know, that's what it was in the 80s. That's what we called them. So I don't know, whatever the proper term is, mentally, disabled or whatever. But are my children going to be like my brother and sister? You know, that night thinking that's something bad. It was too good to be true that she was healthy and perfect and beautiful. So it was crazy. Yeah. But was your father was Agent Orange, you said, affected by
my father-in-law. So my wife's father.
And that he was in Vietnam, obviously. Yes.
He was in Vietnam. And it's just, I mean, I've heard other stories where, I mean, there was a friend of mine, his father was exposed to Agent Orange in Vietnam. They didn't find out. I mean, they weren't able to track it for years. So for years, he had all these issues, to the point where it bankrupted the entire family, ruined their business, ruined their lives. And they found out later, oh, it's because he was exposed to Agent Orange. And I have a feeling there's other cases out there where they haven't even been able to trace that's what happened yet. Yeah. I mean, they just decided to use humans as guinea pigs.
Exactly. And my father died from cancer in 2010. And a lot of people say that there's a chance that, you know, Agent Orange Agent Orange accelerates the you know, I don't know the term, but so some people say there's a chance that Agent Orange was the cause of the cancer as well, which I'm not sure about. My dad smoked a lot, you know, but, you know, a lot of people say, no, I'm telling you, I think that's the case, but, you know, who knows? But yeah, it's sad. And that's why when I listen to you, honestly, you don't know, I'm a fan of you guys as well. Like, I was with Sam, Crazy Sam,
Yeah.
did his show, and he said, "Oh, there's a comedy show, and you guys were doing a show with Jimmy Dore up
Hmm.
in California." So when I was in Cali, I went to one of your guys' shows one time, even.
Oh,
Yeah,
really? Wait, in
yeah,
in LA or?
yeah. It was in L.A. It was
Oh,
L.A. and it
cool.
was. I thought it was going to be like one of your YouTube clips where you kind of break down what's going on in the news, but you didn't do that. It was kind of more like everybody was doing comedy bits, and it was cool. Yeah, yeah, it was a cool
Uh,
time. Yeah.
oh, cool, man. Awesome. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you wanna know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you wanna know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your